Greetings, everybody. What's up? What's up? What's up? Greetings. It's a pleasure to be here right now. Dhane Diesel in the building. Welcome to Billionaire Belief. Today, I want to talk to you about 7 distinct forms of money. Why that topic? This past weekend, I was talking to a friend, and they made a statement like, Bill Gates, the guy's, a billionaire, 50 billion plus, and where does he store all that money? And so I was curious. It made me curious, so I did a little homework and I came across some information. And it basically broke down the 7 distinct forms of money. So when we think or when we see a story about a guy like a Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, Carlos Slim, all these guys who have these massive net worths of 70 billion, 50 billion, 40 billion dollars, the Larry Ellisons, the Mark Zuckerbergs, 30 billion. The average person assumes that this is all in cash, but what the average person really doesn't understand, that cash is only one form of money. There's numerous forms, but the 7 most, we'll talk about the 7 most important, which is what the article was talking about, and I'll make sure I share a link in the video below. But there's 7 distinct forms of money. So let me go ahead and bring up a screen share for you guys real quick. So hopefully you guys can see this. So 7 distinct forms of money. So the first distinct form of money is business ownership, which is typically things like stock. So if you own a chain of dry cleaners, for example, and he said, if those dry cleaners earn $1 million in profit a year, let's just say that chain of dry cleaners, that business ownership, that stock at the end of the day, could be sold for upwards of $10 to $15 million just because of the return that the business is producing on an annual basis. But that's just one form of money. Now, that value of $10 to $15 million would go on that individual's balance sheet from the asset perspective, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have that cash in the bank. Second form, loans, so bonds. So bonds, for example, so money that a person has lent out, expecting to receive payment on the principal as well as interest. It's another form of money. Real estate, things like hotels, apartments, like it says, houses, bridges, ironically. Those are all forms of real estate that an individual can own, that has a value attached to it, that if it were to be sold for another form of money, like a nominal currency, number 5, US dollars, for example, it will be worth that. So another form of currency, commodity, so things like oil. Number 6, intellectual property, copyright. So if you have an idea for a song, for example, or a book, those are copyrights. That's intellectual property right there, but that's a form of money. So when you see a guy like George Lucas, for example, I mean, when we saw a few years back, I want to say, when I believe it was Disney, maybe wrong, but I believe it was Disney, they bought the rights to Star Wars and they went for like billions of dollars. Now, the intellectual property of Star Wars was worth billions of dollars. Now, that didn't necessarily mean that Lucas had billions of dollars in cash in the bank. But what that did mean was that when a company like, I believe it was Disney, came around and said, hey, we want to buy that from you, they did give him cash or another form of money, which would maybe have been Disney stock or maybe commodity, oil. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Maybe George Lucas asked for payment in coffee bean, which would have been a commodity. Or he maybe asked for the number 7, tangible property, famous paintings, for example, or a rare book that maybe someone at Disney owned that he wanted. But nevertheless, there are 7 distinct forms of money. So it's important that you know this, so that as you are striving to build your net worth, and when it comes to building assets and then putting money aside for the future, you're aware of the forms of money that you can acquire. So, Warren Buffett always talks about purchasing power too, which is another important part that the author of the article where I got the information from was talking about. But understanding purchasing power, because due to inflation, sometimes, you can get a nominal currencies, in this case, US dollars, and think that because, what I'm saying, there was an example we gave basically of loaves of bread, and Warren Buffett talks about it too, a purchasing power, well, how many cheeseburgers you can buy. But at the end of the day, what they're ultimately getting at is you want to just be mindful of Not necessarily the nominal value or the dollar amounts, but what can those dollar amounts buy you? So those are the 7 distinct forms of money. Number 1, business ownership. Number 2, loans. Number 3, real estate. Number 4, commodities. Number 5, nominal currencies. Number 6, intellectual property. Number 7, tangible property. So with that, my goal is just to help you understand that, as you are on your journey to build wealth, it's very important that you realize that, your building assets might come in other forms than just cash. It can come in other forms. It might be, like you said, intellectual property. And also, too, you have the ability to create, different types of assets, investments just from your mind. Intellectual property, for example, all that comes from your mind. So you can do it at the end of the day. Like I said, during my study of billionaires and millionaires, I've learned these are some of the things that they're doing. This is the billionaire belief. You know what I'm saying? This is how they're thinking about money. They're not just thinking like, oh, I'm gonna hold all my money in cash. Like, no, I'm gonna put some of it in for example, Bill Gates. Some of it is in stocks, Microsoft stock, other company stocks. Some of it is in buildings. Some of it is in rare paintings. All kind of stuff. More than likely, guys like that, girls like that, ladies like that, they have assets, it's very strong asset column, but it's, between all, those are the 7 main ones. But like I said, there's plenty more, but for the basics, we just want to get you started. Those are the basics. So just start thinking about that when it comes to money. And as you are, striving to build your net worth, and some of the things that you could be buying, as well as some of the things that you could be creating to help you keep that network bumping up. So, if you haven't subscribed to the mailing list, do so right now so you can get access to our financial literacy toolkit, so you can learn how to take control of your financial life, understand how the financial world works, and know and start learning what you need to do to create the retirement income you're going to need when you get in your golden years. This is Dhane Diesel. I'm here to help you win. Like I said, I'm the guy who chose to study billionaires so that he can make it to the top 1% of income earners, because as they say, if you shoot for the stars, you'll at least hit the moon. This is Dhane Diesel. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. If you have some feedback, leave a comment below. If you want to just say, hey, leave a comment below. But make sure you go ahead and join that mailing list if you haven't done so already. Peace.